I try to give some insights of the fundamental principes creating life. Some people have other ideas. I try to have my idea. And there is no way passing global scaling. Who heard already about global scaling? Are there some people? It was during the Iron Curtain was closed between the Western and the Russian part, and then Hartmut Müller, a physician, went to Russia and could create that new system, global scaling. And they found that everything is natural logarithmical and not linear. We always think we are linear, but we should learn already at school natural logarithms, and not 1 is 2, 1 plus 1 is 2, not a linear system, but a logarithmical system, then we would understand nature. There was another Russian, Professor Schnoll, who made hundreds of experiences with animals and plants and put them always together, and saw that that is not a natural behavior of nature. When you have all the results, make a normal Gauss curve all over that statistical system, and that is it, that's it. No, you have to divide in these different portions, and on the logarithmical scale, it looks then like strips. Every point has its strip. And to come on that global scaling, there is a mathematical formula. Ln means natural logarithms from any thing, a plant or an animal or anything, equal n0 plus e above n1 plus e above n2 plus e above n key. So Ln is the abbreviation of the natural logarithms. E is the base number of a natural logarithms, and that is 2.71. These fractals are numbers of the continued fraction, and they are always numbers who can divide it through 3 with no remainder, corresponding always to the next potency. Global scaling is a continued fraction, really divisible through by 3 without a remainder. The calibration of all these systems are basing on the rest mass of the proton, and that is 1.67 times 10 high 27 kilograms. It's a very, very, very little weight that proton is weighing. With these parameters, we can other physical phenomenon prove. The wavelengths, the frequencies, or the temperature are always connected to the mass distribution of that physical constant. Everything is distributed fragmentary, in fragments. The global scaling fraction chops everything on the natural logarithmical scale in fractals. And it goes always according to the sonic law. We heard already about that sonic law. There was a physician in 200 years ago called Fibonacci. He said that always 2 numbers, 1 plus 2 is 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 plus 8 is 13. And he proved to a king of Rome how quick a rabbit population grows. And that was called the Fibonacci rule. And when you divide the first Fibonacci number divided through the next one, you come to a quotient, and that means you are in the golden mean, in the middle of that, and that is a constant called 1.618. That's the golden mean. You find that golden mean in many, many different plants. I show you that later on. that natural logarithmical line is chopped always one mass, one vacuum, one mass, one mass, one vacuum, one mass. And that chops the logarithmical line always in these underlines. Another line is again chopped in these systems. And that is constructing our natural systems, plants, animals, and man also. Natural systems try to come into so-called green area, where the mass compression wave, mass, and the vacuum compression wave overlap. So we are not only vacuum, and not only mass, only where these two systems overlap is the green system, which life creates. Showing here a mass Cantor fractal, mass, mass, vacuum, mass, mass, vacuum, mass, mass, vacuum. And the vacuum fractal is 90 degrees deviated. So there's vacuum, mass, mass, vacuum, mass, mass. And where the green line overlap, the mass and the vacuum fractal, that is the green zone. And in this green zone, life develops really prosperatively. When you have all these universe chopped on a logarithmical line, you see a very, very long logarithmical line, and that logarithmical line is always chopped through 3 without remainder. And the proton here is the calibration 0. We spoke about the electron that is a little bit smaller than the proton. It is here. But far, far smaller is on the beginning of the logarithmical line, the photon. Photons are very, very small. We say particles and wave or particles, both of them, because it's at the beginning of a standing wave from the holistic system. Our DNA is already here with 10 high 27 molecules and atoms forming our genetical code. And then we see then Earth and galaxies and sun system and other galaxies and meta-galaxies until we end of the first standing wave, and then this wave is reflected back, forth and back and forth and back, and that is creating our life. It seems that it is similar to a Möbius strip, which is endlessly done and never ends and is always here. I try to show you in a way how that standing wave is moving. And here I found a system called battle rope. This man is the trainer of the battle rope system, and you see how the battle rope moves up and down, and so our world is oscillating, forth and back all the time. Everything is dynamic. And when we are on that fractal distribution, we are in the DNA of our ecosystem here. And if somebody don't believe it, Fritz Alder Popp, he was the father of the photons, the Pope of the photons. He could prove that everything we see and hear and listen is natural logarithmical. We see logarithmically, we smell logarithmically, taste, hear, and even our sensible touch is natural logarithmic. For instance, if there are 1 billion photons coming on our eyes, our background has only to see 9 photons on its head, because the eyes reflect the light, and we see, when you see somebody, it's on its head in your brain, and when you look out, it's again other side. Now, can you follow? The eye focuses that. So we are in all systems, in all, a natural logarithm. I only want to show you a little bit that we are a natural logarithm. I found the model of the Matryoshka dolls, and they are curved in a logarithmical way. It's not linear, always the same, in the same, in the same, in the same, and they are not linearly carved. That's kind of a natural logarithm. And then there are very interesting things arriving in our world nobody can explain. Who heard already about the ampulla of Lorenzini? Who knows these ampullas of Lorenzini? For me, it was a new world. It is a sensible organ of the sharks. The shark is a very, very old animal in the sea. So the shark can touch and taste with his mouth very close. And then below on his mouth, he had these Lorenzini ampules with an electromagnetic field that he can feel if something is in front of his mouth. A new system. And with another system, we lost our sidelines. Now, are you tickling here? That's our sidelines. You must test your sidelines. And then he saw a little bit further, and his eyes look to 10 to 100 meters. The smell, he smells very good, 200 and more meters. And his noises, he can recognize his noises through the noise in the water, 100 and more meters. So he see immediately within 100 meters everything what is in front of him. Things nature created. I tried to show you how old we became. And when we have on the upper side the B, that's the vacuum compression wave chopped in these systems, and below the material compression waves also chopped on the logarithmic natural way. Birthday is out here in that knot where the material compression wave is very, very strong, and we have nearly no vacuum. That is 9 hours before birth. First day, 3 days, 9 days, 21 days. We see we are always a mixture of vacuum and mass. 13 months, and then already 3 years, 21 years, 61 years, and here already 147 years, because it's so compressed on the logarithmical line. When that logarithmical line starts and ends at the horizon, it comes back very quick, like I showed you with that battle rope. It comes immediately back, but with a delay of the natural logarithmal 6. It is a little bit later that the second line comes back, and then forth and back. Have you already seen on the Alps an iron wire with a small tiny car on board which goes uphill with a rope to transport cheese or anything? When you hit on that rope, the wave goes up to the first space, and then it comes back again, and then up again, and back again. That's how our life is constructed. That is called the Euler was a very famous mathematics. It is called Euler's pearl string, like a string, always going forth and back, and there are many, many pearls, like a chain around the neck, and all these smaller waves. We say that is the first mother or father wave, and then subwave, second category, another subway third category, another subway fourth category. It's always divided by 3. And that is our DNS. Life is created through that natural logarithm in the universe. And this wave is double helix with these 4 bases: adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. And you see how small it is? That is nanometers. Do you know how much is a nanometer? Very small. That's how life is. We are in a fractal system. We are fractal construction of our body. Why? Because that would be not good when we have no fractals. We have hand acupuncture, hand reflex zones, the same picture, foot reflex zones. We have ear reflex zones. We have nose reflex zones. Yamamoto's brain reflex zones. We have ref flows on the clavicula. We are fractal, always same manner. And that system is also in our brain. If somebody loses a leg, amputation of a leg, the leg is still in your head. And you can heal that person when he has a phantom pain, when you can go to his brain and eliminate it. There are many, many fractals in feather, artificial in stars, a pentagram, fractal, 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 or even in the vegetables, fractals, fractals, fractals. And so our life is a fractal. A plant, a simple plant, fractals. It's divided in different branches, and top of the branch, again, it's divided in a star-like, and that means everything is created fractally, like here, or in the agapanthus flowers, or in a fern. Who had already heard about the Mandelbrot's apple pie? It's a very nice thing to show you how fractal works. What is that? Mitochondria, everybody knows it. That's only close up what they are always doing, these eukaryotes. They are all constructing our systems we live from. And very interesting is that within the mitochondrial walls, like a folding system, on these walls, on the membrane, are mushroom-like systems with so-called antenna pigments on top. And these antenna pigments emit coherent light. So the photons are light emitter. And at the end, build our aura. Everything is emitted through the mitochondrial wall, up and down and forth and back, with different enzymes. But at the end, we see mitochondriopathies are typical lifestyle sicknesses we heard about when we listen about that nutrition. Very important system is the transfer system, the ferry system, where from the mother, from the navel of the mother goes pathological system to the baby, to the fetus. And we call that transfer syndrome. The multi-chemical syndrome we spoke already about these exogenic, endogenic, iatrogenic disturbance focus. That is very, very detrimental. And all our e-products in our food, which we heard this morning, very nice, what we are doing about. And at the end, this mitochondrial power system is building our aura all around us. Water. We heard everything about water already before, that how much water we are, and we are much water. And imagine one water molecule, oxygen and with 2 hydrogen atoms. You can see how small that is. And Professor Warnke from the University of Stuttgart said, when you enlarge the oxygen atom as large as a football, the 2 hydrogen atoms are in a 10 kilometers distance is rotating 1 hydrogen atom. And these 2 hydrogen atoms is an angle of 104.5 degrees constantly. And what is in between? What is in between the oxygen and the hydrogen atom? What do you suggest? Is there something in between? What? Vacuum. And what is vacuum? Is vacuum something? Vacuum is nothing. But what happens in the vacuum? Full of information. And why do I tell you that? I made an experiment. I had 2 sausages from the butcher, and I filled them with beans. One sausage, he just sealed it, and the other sausage, he vacuumized it. Which one do you think is standing better? The vacuumized is our system. We are totally vacuumized. Therefore, we can stand straight. That's water. Who makes that? And you know all these pictures from Masaru Emoto. If you say good words to the water, to your neighbor, to your friends, you have a nice crystallizing water. If you say bad words, your water won't crystallize anymore. If you say thank you very much, or even the trees, they love each other. And I have a very good trick to fortify my water at home. I put in my water can a double-ended smoky quartz with double ends. That's very seldom. You can find them. So the positive point is in the middle of the quartz and all the other. So the energy goes around and stimulates the water to a better quality. On the logarithmic natural scale, we see that water remains in the notch minus 24, minus 1/3. In that region, we have the opportunity to be in the green zone where the water is +4 to +40 degrees, very small amount. If you are too close to that notch, it is already 137 degrees Celsius, and on the other side, minus 100 degrees. So it needs that we should be in that very small channel to have our water +4 to +40. That's the green zone of our water. And our body is not only water, but also a little bit of salt. And the best salt is the organic Himalayan salt. That's crystalline salt. It's not sodium chloride. It's not sodium chloride. We have a natural salt in our body with all the 82 trace elements. It's not a lick stone for horses with sodium chloride. It's much better to have a Himalayan salt stone. And you see, the horses like more this stone instead of this stone, who lie just next door. Another very most important system which brings life to the point. That's the sonic law. I was always disturbed when people were speaking about who was first, the hen or the egg. Who is first? Who is the egg? Was the egg first? Hand. Who is the hen first? Hand. The hen was first. We have the sonic law up here. 1 above n times n equals 1. And when you put that on a scale, you become a hyperbole. When you turn that purple about the x-axis, you have a spiral like a trumpet. When you have here up head, it's very close. You have perhaps a clarinet, here a trumpet, here a sousaphone with a very, very big tricht. So, all out of that sonic law. When you cut that sonic law straight through, you have a round circle turning around its z-axis, you become a round egg. When you cut it divergently, a little bit deviated, you become an elliptic system. Turning around the x cross axis, you become an egg. And out of an egg, we have a hen. And dear God created 55 females and 45 men. Why? Because there are religions who can have different wives. It needs more wives. So it is proven that the egg must be before any animal. The dinosaurs, the fishes, they have all round eggs. And all animals with round eggs, they cannot fly. Frogs, fishes, they cannot fly. An ostrich, nearly a round egg, he can a little bit wipe with his wings. But a swallow has a very, very pointed egg and is the master of flying. So according to that angle, we can see if that animal can fly or not fly. And the sonic law originates from the Big Bang, and that is still creating our universe, still going on. It's not finished. When we had the Big Bang, the universe is still enlarging and enlarging, and now, at that time, they say it's 13.7 million years old, and it's still enlarging and going further and further. So we are at the end, the music box, according to the sonic law. Very easy. We are full of frequencies. The electromagnetic specialist, Marcel told everything about the electromagnetic system. And I come a little bit from the acupuncture story, and we know that all the organs have their own frequencies. According to me, there are no meridians. You can forget it. That is something I believed years ago. We have only fascia. Fascia is connective tissue with a possibility to transmit electromagnetism. They start down here and they go up to the head. From the head to the arm, from the arm to the tail, we are all fascia. It's never anybody can prove that a meridian is a vessel or a channel. It's just called like this. But the proof is that everything is moving on the fascia. Fascian, fascia. A veterinarian in Sweden made dissection of horses, and they prepared every fascia from the horse, all muscles, organs, everything is gone, and only the fascia was there. From that point of view, I see that also animals are full of fascia, energetic systems transmitting electromagnetic signals with different frequencies. The lung with 824 hertz, large intestine, stomach, spleen, heart, small intestine, bladder, kidney, pericardium, triheater, and gallbladder and liver. Every organ has another frequency, another way to balance through the whole body. The fascia is about every muscle is a fascia. The fascia, the connective tissue, is in our diaphragm inside and outside. Everything is fascia. We have frequencies and we have anti-frequencies. Dr. Nogier from France, he created the frequency rho A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And the Bar, the professor of the German Acupuncture Society, he created a rho 5, 4, 3, 1. The frequency 5 is the anti-frequency of frequency A. With my laser at home, I can find every disturbance focus, any, and I can heal them with the anti-frequency 5. When I have a metabolic nutrition problem, I find it with the frequency B, and I can treat them with the frequency of the governing vessels and some oligosols to give the opportunity to fill up that leak of minerals. Frequency C is all the locomotion system, arms, legs, everything who is moving, I find with the frequency C. And the anti-frequency is conception vessel, where all the heavy metals are rowed in one row. You can find all the heavy metals on the conception vessel, and so on. Especially the frequency E show me pain. When you have pain, I can immediately find the locus, because I am a auriculo medicine. I can find every point at the ear. In the horses, in dogs, in men, I don't go to the body. And immediately I can heal pain with the sympathetic nerve system. Frequency 1, I can find the points. Very detrimental are mute disturbance fields, especially in teeth. A dead tooth may give you disturbance focus and may pain somewhere in the neck or a headache or any pain. These teeth have also resonance points at the body. And then even mute disturbances, emotional, mute, spiritual disturbances, very, very difficult to find. I show you now where are these frequencies displaced. We see in the ear acupuncture or in the body acupuncture. Frequency C, for instance, arms and body, that's in the ear, in that region. All inner organs, heart, lung, liver, spleen, and kidney are in the fossa, in the concha, inside, here in the zone B. B, G is the prefrontal brain zone, F, the big brain, and E, the marrow. Very easy to find at the ear. And all these females, especially with piercings in the ears, they must come after that session to me, and we take all the piercings in the prefrontal brain zone, in the brain and in the spine and everywhere. We remove them. And their aura will enlarge, and they will be happy, no pain and no problems anymore. Anatomically seen, the head is down here with the brain, the jaws, the 7 cervicals, the thoracal vertebrae, and the lumbar vertebrae. Here where the 7 cervical stops, we have the shoulder blade, the upper arm, lower arm, and the hand. We are handers. Men are handers. Different in animals. They are feeders. They're going to feed. They have another ear, I'll show you later on. Where the thoracal stop, we have the pelvis. Here is the humerus, the lower femur, and here is the foot. We have a very small foot. We are not footers. We are not footers. We are handers. That's our privilege. And with all these frequencies, I can heal with my laser or find the point where we have a problem very, very exactly. For instance, if a man or a woman has a knee problem, we go to the knee. And if that is a chronic problem, I put them either a gold needle, 1 week, an endurance needle, 2 to 3 weeks, or a template, 1 year, or 5 years, or even a gold implant, everlasting. They have never pain in the knee anymore. Another artist in Switzerland is Alexander Lauterwasser, and he made sand and water images with a generator where he can give different frequencies. And so you can see how life starts. When he has on his standing wave with a frequency on 24.24 hertz, he created a square phase shifted structure. And that square phased shifted structure you find in nature in plants. They are created with 24.24 hertz. When he enhanced the frequency to 22.9 hertz, he created a 3-sum or 6-sum structure, like in water. It's a snow crystal, in fact, a 6-sum crystal, but on the other hand, a lily, 6-fold lily. When he enhanced it anymore to 38 hertz, he created a 5-sum or 10-sum figure on his oscillating plate and creating plants with 5 leaves. We can immediately calculate how much energy it needs to create such a plant, because there is a formula. Energy equals H times frequency. At the end, we have immediately the energy it needs to create that flower. When he has a standing wave with the frequency of exactly 52.4 hertz, he created 2 opposing spirals, 13 left-handed and 8 right-handed spirals. And when you go to nature, it's only with 137.5 degrees deviation that we create such a system, a little bit lower this system, a little bit higher that system. But this we have in many plants, for instance, in the sunflower. That, again, according to Fibonacci rule. 13 left and 8 right-handed spirals gives a sunflower, or a pine cone, or a cactus. Standing wave of 79.74 hertz gives a 7-sum shifted structure. Flowers with 7 leaves. Datura stramonium, who knows that plant? It's a very interesting plant for spiritual operations. And a little bit higher frequency, he could create ammonites. Millions of years ago, snails today. Nature creates, according to a special frequency, different animals. The standing wave of 1,000 and some hertz creates a tortoise. I do also acupuncture in tortoises. If they have problems, no problem. They come to me, I check, 1 needle, gone. In the feet, somewhere, so, with the laser. This tortoise was in an aquarium, and that water of the aquarium was polluted. And all of a sudden, he couldn't see anymore. The eyes were swollen, whitened, and some reddish, and she couldn't see nothing anymore. She came to me. I checked with the laser. and they found that she has a mercury pollution. We put them back after the acupuncture. We put them back in the aquarium, and I added to the water. What do you think? Mercurius solubilis 10,000. Very, very high potency. 2 weeks later, tortoise saw again. We enhanced that frequency, and all of a sudden we create a zebra. Even higher, we create a leopard. The higher the frequency, the more developed is the animal. So we are all an electromagnetic system with a special frequency. We go to the chakras. What is a chakra? An energy center. Huh? And also the chakras have a frequency, and all these frequencies put on the logarithmic line, it's again a hyperbolic curve. And here is something I must explain. It's a pity that I couldn't take that art of work I did with me. That's Charlie Chaplin, this man. And I was, as a vet, treating horses, and I always found some energy coming out of a horse, and I said, why do I feel the chakra on the back of a horse? Why? I asked my Professor Barr, why do I feel the chakras on the back of the horse? In men, they are all in front. And you don't understand that the chakra has a spin. A spin. And then, a chakra has a spin. It is turning. And when the root chakra has a right spin, the genital chakra must have a left spin, and the navel chakra a right spin, and further, and then I constructed that Charlie Chaplin. That's the back of Charlie Chaplin. Unfortunately, I have no picture from his front, but here is the root chakra, genital chakra, navel chakra, heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye, and on top, the highest chakra. But when one chakra is blocked, only one of them is blocked, everything is blocked. When I pull the root chakra clockwise, the other must turn counterclockwise, and the upper again clockwise. So you can turn this, and the whole row goes like they must go. So if one is blocked, you can turn on the lower, on the upper chakra, nothing goes on. And many, many times, the navel chakra is blocked, the middle of the body. So how do you deblock the navel? Who knows something about the back flowers? Back flowers. Who is a specialist of back flowers? What is about the rescue mixture of the back flowers? Rescue contains 5 flowers. All these flowers together have a frequency resonating of the navel. So when you have a big problem, you give rescue. How do you give rescue? Why do you have to give frequencies in your mouth? All the flowers, back flowers, Californian flowers, Australian flowers, whatever, Swiss alpine flowers, Swiss alpine orchid, living essences, I did myself, immaterial. You cannot dilute them, it's nothing inside, just a frequency and information. Software, perhaps you understand software. And software is already adapted in your aura. So If you have a problem with a blocked navel chakra, 3 drops anyway on your hand, or on your foot, or anywhere, somewhere. You can also give the drops into the ear or onto the navel at the ear, anywhere. But it not needs to give it into the mouth because you are not feeding something. It's immaterial. And when your back flower bottle is empty or nearly empty, what are you doing? I add 1 cc of alcohol, add 9 cc of crystal clear water, dynamize it 10 times, implicate the information of rescue in the bottle, and it is identical as before. You cannot dilute nothing. You cannot dilute software. I find then I have not to sting a needle here on the navel where the horse is kicking me. Too dangerous. I can give the information here on top in the foramen lumbosacral. I don't have to give a needle here on the stomach where the dog can bite me. No, here, the neck, where he cannot bite me. So you have to have some tricks. And we have not only 7 or 8 chakras, we have dozens of chakras. Here are the 7 utmost important chakras from CV1, the root chakra, to governing vessel 20. Here on top, the crown chakra. And all these chakras have a special frequency and a special flower. I can treat them with it. But Professor Barr, he is a researcher in acupuncture, and he found many, many other chakras. I show you them. And every chakra has another frequency, another information, and another flower essence. We can heal that problem. For instance, we find these chakras also on the hand, because you are a fractal. All the chakras on the hand are on the dorsal side of the hand, from root chakra here, where the middle finger on top of that bone, to the chakra 12, and then it jumps onto the non-dominant hand, and on the non-dominant hand we have another row of chakras, all different informations. Very much important, the mamma, the thymus, the immune system stimulation with mulla mulla, and it goes on, the arm, along the large intestine meridian, and then again to the lung meridian, the lung channel or the lung fascia. We speak about the meridian, but in fact we speak about the fascia. Who knows something about the mudras? Some? That's a testing system I use also with the fingers to find symptoms, structural symptoms with the mudra 1, 2, thumb and index finger. I go to the third eye, and if I have a VAS, a vaso-autonomic signal here, I know he has a structural problem. That's easy because the patient always says, I have a knee problem, structural. Chemical problem, mudra 1, 3, 1, 3, this way. I come to my third eye, and if he has a chemical problem, I find a vaso-autonomic signal, or we call it auriculocardiac reflex, and everybody can learn that. But then it becomes very difficult to find out an emotional aberration with the mudra 1, 4 to the eye. And then I have to look, what is his emotional problems? And then I go to that chakra list where all the flowers are in a row, and then I look, how can I help him? Mudra 1, 5, the mental problems. If you have mental problems, very difficult to find out. And then another trick thing, mudra 1, 2, 3. We call it Trinity. 1, 2, 3, this way. I find problems in the soul. Then it's another very interesting system. When I check governing vessel 16 here at the Atlanta occipital hole, that is your birthday. And here on top, GV20, that's now. You live now, here, up here. Then I can find, with the Trinity, if you have a problem from your birth to your actual living. Perhaps you have an accident, you have a divorce, you have children who died, or anything happens in between that line from your birthday to today. And that can give you a disturbance. You cannot live with that disturbance, and then I have to find if there is something on that line. And that is what we are in fact. That's also a copper engraving I did years ago. We are totally vacuumized. My parcel is vacuumized, full of water with some salt, full of mitochondria, according to the sonic law, and everything is natural logarithmical. Our sight, our tongue, our hands, our ear, the nose, everything is natural logarithmical done. So we are, in fact, totally vacuumized fractal system full of water and salt, emanating mitochondrogenetic photons according to the sonic law, and all senses are logarithmical oscillating with the soul and sometimes a little bit of spirit. The souls. The Chinese describe two souls. The Hun is the young soul, and as Paul said also, we are not only young, we are also yin. We are the lean soul, that's a Po soul, that's the corporal, animal soul. Hun is more spiritual. It's etherical. And when people die, you leave them in their room, and then you open the window, so that the soul can evade. On the other side, the yin soul, it's corporeal, that's, yin is still massive, it's buried in the ground, or burned, or whatever, but that is what is the animal soul, which normally goes to the ground. We have different remedies to heat the soul. We can find it with a flower essences called Oregon grape, Berberis aquifolium. It's a Californian flower essences with 336 hertz, and we find all the negative qi. Qi is the energy we emit. And with Oregon grape, we find all the negative qi. And then we find, for instance, bleeding heart. And bleeding heart we find in patients who are recently divorced. Then we heal them with bleeding heart. Or I find very often yellow star tulip, missing empathy, love missing. They are not beloved anymore. They are just vegetating. These flowers look like this. Bleeding heart, everybody knows bleeding heart. That essence is utmost effective in actually divorced people. 3 drops 3 times daily for 2 weeks, and the divorce stress is gone. Isopogon, stirred desert pea, an Australian living essence, also the yellow star tulip, all Australian living essences. What means living essence? All the Bach flowers, Dr. Bach picked up the flowers in the nature. He picked them off. He put them in water, let them stay for 4 to 6 hours in the sun, and all the flower is, with its structure, with its energy, with its system, with its odors, in the water. The water has a memory. You know everything that the water has a memory we talk about. But living essences is otherwise. He takes the flower to the plant and put the living flower into the water. And that is much stronger than when you pick them off. They're already dead when you pick them off. But when you put them living in the water, all the information is much stronger. So I did myself. And then there's another man who said our body houses 5 souls. What it is? We have the pu, the hun, but then the shen, the opening of the heart, the chin closing, and the yi harmonizing. It's more the middle of the thing. Whatever you think about the souls, healing the souls, also who is aware of the quintessences and the flower essences and the aurasomas. A very interesting healing system. It's always oil above water. The oil is swimming above the water. And all these different colors, you mix them when you heal. You mix them to an oil-water mixture, and then you apply that. I checked them out with the pulse. I am a pulse diagnostic man. You can see it tomorrow when I check the horse or the dog to figure out if I am right or I'm wrong. And then it's a very, very, even utmost more important thing is the pomanders, the aurasoma pomanders, and the aurasoma master quintessences. Always oil above water. And this delusion comes in resonance with this or the other aberration in a mental, etherical, or soul problem. That's very difficult to heal. Okay, I did another. Man is a 5-corner system, and then we have our sonic law, and then our sun system with the planets, and our Milk Street, and other meta galaxies, and out here is somebody living. Who is that? I call it Dear God. Dear God. Dear God is not anymore a man with a beard and then a white thing. It's not a person anymore, but I still 60 years old. I wear all that bloody stuff in my mind, and all of a sudden, no, it cannot be that is my God. It must be something else. And that at the end, I saw that it must be a point with no dimension in the length and the foot. So, looking for everything down here, for all the systems. In the ionosphere, in the atmosphere, in the hydrosphere, in the biosphere, in the lithosphere, in the body. Somebody must look all after that system. And this we saw already on other things. We are somewhere in that Big Bang system 13 million years ago. And our Earth, and that system is in the solar system very, very close to the sun here. And all the others are far away. But at the end, we are a corrupt nothing in the universe. That's my definition. Because Armstrong in the space shuttle all around the world, he said, oh, the blue planet, very nice down up. And when he came down, he saw that things, 174 tons every second of plastic. And people who have nothing, they go and look at something, but not even that. Everybody's looking for somebody, a partner, which you can discuss. And I had a very nice story about an old woman, 84 years old. He had a shepherd dog to protect her. He was very good obedience. He made everything. Every day he went with that lady for a walk. But all of a day, 15 years old, he said, we must put him down. We must euthanize him. It's not anymore a good system. He has pain and eats nothing anymore. I have to look for something else, we must put him down. Okay? We made an injection, put him down. Lady was screaming. I gave her drops, and she was looking for another dog. 2 weeks later, she went to Germany, bought a new shepherd dog, a very young dog, from the best hierarchical system, and was very happy that she has a new dog now. But something happened. 2 weeks later, she came to me, new shepherd, like a hell gone. Not the old one who was following her every step. She didn't realize that he's a young dog. He climbed on the bed, shoes, everything was, he put on the pillow, he took the feathers out, and everything was flying around. And then she came to me and said, Dr. Rüsti, it's not a dog for me. It's not my dog. So it was a good day. A policeman, freshly have his patent, wanted to buy a shepherd dog, and then we could give that young shepherd dog to that young policeman to work with him, with his genetically addiction, who can go to the people and find the drugs and all that stuff. He could learn with him what he has to do, but that old lady, he could go to the school. It was not enough. We had to give her another dog, a dwarf poodle. Could take in the arm and go to shop, and every time he has the dwarf poodle in his arm, and then she was happy. Like this, that's then harmony. When you can speak with your dog, with your cat, and when you harmonize yourself, you are then completely balanced. Or this family came with 2 sick cats here in the baskets, grandmother, daughters, granddaughters, and cats. They came because of the cats to me. Then I had to look after grandmother first, their problems, then the daughters, and then the babies, and then the cats. It's a hierarchical system. Sometimes you don't know how to heal or to help yourself, but there is a very nice plant. It's called Shiakuka, in English, self-heal. In Latin, Prunella vulgaris. You see them everywhere in the fields. And when you have a problem, you can take them anyway, anytime, all the time. Me, myself. All the people ran to the doctors, and I do myself. I look for myself and not go to the doctor. I have a problem from a tick down here. Give me an injection or an antibiotic. No, I do myself. And you can do ear massage every day, as I show you. The ear is a small fetus on its head. The head is the earlobe. And all these ladies with this piercing in the prefrontal hearing zone, are in the jaw, or even first, we take them afterwards out. You can massage it. You can take your hands and do something. You can massage it. And never forget the earlobe. That's your brain. If you have a brain problem, a headache, massage your earlobes. I do it every day, twice, until I have earlobes like Buddha here. So everything is, especially the brain, is in the earlobe. And all these piercings in that region is very detrimental. Harmonized agriculture, as the colleague from Mexico told us, or from Peru, and you know the glyphosate stuff, everybody knows it, but it's very incredible that 1,350,000 tons of glyphosate is gone in our world. And also in the agriculture system with that very known Roundup, which kills every weed, everything is done. In the rice culture in Thailand, I saw them, and that goes into the water, and all these animals are polluted with methyl mercury and all other stuff. All these disturbances focus is very detrimental. Exogenous is these herbicides, ascaricides, and dewormers and that stuff. Endogenous come from inside, and iatrogenous means that a doctor make you a problem, a scar, or an implant, or anything. But then it needs other doctors. Psychic problems, you go to a psychiater. Mental problems, to the mental training. Spiritual, to the pastor. It needs many, many different doctors to heal you. When you do it myself, you don't need all that stuff. Very nice. Ear piercing everywhere, the brain, in the spine, in the lobe, in the knee point. This lady had a diarrhea, very, very strong diarrhea. She went to the doctor. She take every medicament you can have, motilium, morphium, charcoal, all the herbs, everything. Nothing could help her. She was so sore. She couldn't sit anymore. She had no sex anymore. She was totally wounded. At the end, she comes to the veterinarian. I took a book from a German author, and there were the reflex zones of the tongue. In front is the mouth. Here is the esophagus, the stomach, the liver, and here is the anus. The whole meridian of the digestive system lies in the middle of the tongue. I show her that picture. I said, lady, look at that picture. You have a problem with your digestive system. Yes, I have. Okay, we try to take them out. When within 3 weeks nothing happens, you can put them in again. 3 days later, she phoned. Andy, I have no diarrhea anymore. I can eat again everything. She was on potatoes and broccoli. Nothing else helped before. Everything was gone. So like this, you can do in any point, piercing stuff. I love you. Okay, you can do anything what you can do. We can do many things, but you must do it. We can do ear acupuncture, ear acupressure, Qigong. Who knows Qigong? Many, huh? I am a specialist now in mycotherapy. Mycotherapy. What is mycotherapy? Healing with mushrooms. You know all the shiitake and maitake and all these plants, and I did myself 71 mushroom essences. So different. I can treat with the most toxic mushrooms, even mental and spiritual problems. Nobody can come to that idea. And it's so fine, so interesting, mycotherapy. Because all mushrooms are in the earth. And earth is yin. So we have to stabilize the yin in our body. Laughing is the best therapy in chronic illness. You must more laugh. We can do the Tibetan stuff. That's another method to fortify you. I want to give you practical solutions to change your personal life. You must change something in your life, otherwise life will change you. Be happy and don't worry. Enjoy every day. Move. Mountaineering, climb, come to me and we go to the mountains. Jog, bike, do Qigong as we did. Or even pray, as Rita said, pray every day. Save us, behave me healthy and beware from misfortune. Then have a partner, a friend, sharing love and grief. Donate what you can. We heard from Rita that you have to engage. You engage for a good, better world. And I do myself. I have a very, very bad garden. He's now 2 years done nothing. It's just desert. Many plants growing everywhere. But I want to do, and that is my goal in the future, next year, to do a permaculture system. Similar as the Peruvian speaker just said. Not dreaming and discovering. You must develop it, take a decision, design it, and then you do it. And there's another last option to heal. The own blood nosode, or the own urine nosode, or the own milk nosode. I have in my practice, I had a very big cow practice, and many cows have bad milk with Staphylococcus, Streptococcus, coli, Pseudomonas, every sort of bacteria in the milk. And then the vet comes, very high fever, IV injection, and intramammary antibiotic tubes, or I don't know, injections to give in one teeth or in one several teeth. 2 weeks later, again, high fever, bad milk, no success. Again, IV infections, antibiotic locally, nothing helped. And then I said, there must be something in that cow who makes that milk is not good. It's not the milk gland itself who makes the problem. It must be the cow itself. Then I said, how can I do it? I take from the other vein, it's a big tube down here, with a small needle in a tube, in a glass tube, in a milk tube, some drops of venous blood, add some milk from all the teeth, so I have a blood-milk mixture. I don't take urine normally, but blood and milk. So I have the endogenous system from the cow and the exogenous system from the cow. So I have both in a forceps system. Then I put some alcohol in. I have milk from all the 4 teats with some blood. So I have a blood-milk mixture. And then I potentize it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then I have a individual specific milk blood nosode from that cow with a little bit of alcohol. Here, alcohol. I put everything out, the whole bottle empty. 1 drop remains from that mixture with a little bit of alcohol, 1 cc, 10 times potentized in the 1 vial system. Hahnemann, the big homeopath, he took all the times a new vial, and all 1 to 9, 1 to 9. That is the 10th potency row, or 99 to 1, the C row. And I do the Korsakoff row. That means you eliminate everything, and only the rest who is gluing at the wall of that tube mix with alcohol and potentize 10 times. Then you have Korsakoff 1. And Korsakoff was a Russian who said, we don't need to spoil so many tubes, we just do it in the same vial. You empty everything, add a little bit of alcohol to that blood-milk mixture, put it down 10 times, and then you have Korsakoff 2. You go on, Korsakoff 3, Korsakoff 4, 5, and when you check it with the rod or with the kinesiology, between Korsakoff 6 and 7, it changed from the material blood milk to the immaterial system. There is no material, no blood, no milk, nothing in, but it's the whole cow inside, the antidote of the whole system. Then I go on to Korsakoff 7, 8, 9, 10, and then I'm far away in the immaterial system. Then what do I do with that homeopathic delusion? I pour it the cow over its back, the whole bottle. The aura makes a jump, and the whole cow is in a good condition. Then I immediately put a little bit alcohol inside, potentize 10 times, Korsakoff 11 for tomorrow. Tomorrow, the whole bottle over the back, the aura enlarges even more. Alcohol 10 times, Korsakoff 12 for the day after tomorrow. And every day, 3 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, unless your milk is clean, no antibiotics, no stuff. You heal the cow and not the udder or the milk. You do a holistic treatment of that pathological system. That's universal, individual specific homeopathic drug against physical, psychic, mental, emotional, spiritual problem in that system. You can do it with yourself. And every patient with a tumor or a very bad sickness coming to me, I make that system. Every time. Love each other, laugh together, learn every day, let us move and take lighter food. Think global and live and act local. Love. Everybody hugs neighbor, just now. Just love. Just love. We cannot define love. Love is love, finish. And has nothing to do with sexuality. That's a wooden inlay I did. We call it in Switzerland Intarsien. And I found a stone in the nature, and stone is very much yin, and that stone fell on a small tree, and that tree embraced him. He loves that stone in harmony, laughing, learning skiing, learning playing piano, walking. I was on the glacier of the Kandre. I was every free day in the mushrooms. And then I have a very nice prescription, what you have to eat tonight. One takes 2 months. Beware them properly from envy and bitterness, stinginess and pedantry. It's a little bit hard. Stinginess and pedantry and envy. Divide them within 3 parts, 30 parts, stock enough for 1 year. Every day we prepare our food consisting of 1 part of work, indeed, 2 parts of cheerfulness and humor. We add 3 tablespoons of optimism, 1 teaspoon of tolerance, very important, 1 granule of irony and tact. Then you pour over this with very, very much love. Decorate with a bit of fast attention and serve it with daily with joy. Finish for tonight. Good appetite.